The growing need for Oregon to get Nate Bittle back on the roster next year keeps growing by the day, it seems. June 15th is the deadline to monitor because the early applicant deadline for the NBA draft was the end of April. That one passed, and Bittle notably, I think I saw James Crepea tweet out, did not get an NBA combine invite. I'm not stunned by that. Maybe a little. He's a 7-footer who can score at 3 levels. He does need to get a little bit stronger and learn to go left more successfully down in the post. But the reason I bring this up on today's show is Paul Mbiya, I believe is how you pronounce his name, is going to NC State. He's a native of the Congo. He is 6'11". He was playing in France for a team owned by Tony Parker. He had been putting up some gaudy numbers. He had like a 36 point, 19 rebound, 6 block game over there. Like, dude has got all the vibes in the world of N'Faly Dante. And so that's someone who Oregon had gone and visited pretty recently. They'd had him, I think, for a visit. Like, the connection had been there for quite some time. He's decided to go to NC State. So the options for Oregon in the portal, and it was around this time last year that Oregon brought in who was ultimately their most impactful transfer in TJ Bamba, who was 3rd on the team in scoring this year, 3rd or 4th. So I'm not pressing the panic button yet. I'd say my worry about the Oregon basketball roster is higher right now with regards to bringing in new players than my concern for Oregon football on the recruiting trail, because the options are dwindling. And so if Mbiya is out of the picture, which he is, over at NC State, and, guys have flipped. I saw there was one player, a guard, transferring from Oklahoma that I think is back in the portal. Could actually be a fit for Oregon, by the way. But he had twice this portal cycle committed to teams and backed off. He was going somewhere, said no. He was going another place, said no, I'm not doing that either. And I'm not anticipating that happens here. I think that's, something that's a lot more common with American-born players than foreign-born players. The kind of flip-flopping of the commitments and whatnot. Just that, I don't have a stat necessarily to back that up. I'm just saying the guys that have done that sort of stuff, I don't think they've typically been international guys. Because when you are undergoing that much travel and that much change, like you probably don't want to change your plans that often, whereas it's a lot easier if you're already stateside. So, but with Mbiya out of the picture for the Ducks, Nate Bittle has to come back. I don't know what he's waiting for. Maybe it's the next deadline for the NBA draft as he continues to get more feedback, but I'm counting down days in my head till June 15th. It's over a month away, but I will take a Nate Bittle announcement at any time. And he made it clear when he declared for the draft while retaining his college eligibility, the portal wasn't going to be a thing. So he's either coming back to Oregon or going to the NBA draft. They really, really need him to come back. If they don't, I don't know that I could place tournament. If Bittle does not return, or they don't go out and add someone who is not currently on the radar, they were going after the WCC Freshman of the Year from Portland. He wound up going to Wisconsin instead. If they do not get Nate Bittle to return, I don't know that I will even place tournament expectations on this Oregon basketball team, let alone the step forward that I think we are all hoping for. Back-to-back seasons coming to an end in the round of 32. That's been a good stretch of basketball for Dana Altman and his staff. At some point, though, while Jackson Shellstad is still here, you'd really like to take that next step forward. So the opportunity is right there with Shellstad and Evans back and the transfers they have brought in. Devon Pryor's a really interesting guy coming over from Texas, hasn't played a ton, but has NBA sort of traits at 6'7", really athletic. But the importance of getting Nate Bittle back, who was an all Big Ten performer at both ends of the floor, it just keeps going up. Because if you move into, if a week from now Nate Bittle declares for the NBA draft, I will be in as sour of a mood as I have been here on the show in quite some time, because that would leave Oregon in an incredibly precarious spot for who starts at the 5. KJ Evans, played the 5 as a freshman in a pinch. Oregon is at its best when he's playing 4. Everybody knows that. Dana Altman knows that, and now you all know that. So I am getting a little bit more anxious. There's still a lot of time. There's still a lot of time. Not as much time for Oregon football recruiting to turn it around, but I'm just hoping we get that announcement within the next couple of weeks. Because if Nate Bittle decides, nope, I got, some good feedback here, I'm going to the NBA draft, that would be really, really bad. It has gone from, oh, that wouldn't be great, that you now have an urgent portal need, to, oh, this is moving into significant team regression territory. So that's very important. I want to get back to this question that I was talking about earlier from Balin about the kicking game. Last year, Oregon was a good punting team. Last year, Oregon was a good field goal kicking team. So that's all I'm really looking for. That's all. Just make a clutch kick every now and then, which Sappington did. They were short, but you know what? I've seen college kickers miss worse. The short one against Ohio State for the win at Autzen, and the game winner as time expired against Boise State. Yep, they're really easy kicks. But guess what? No problems, no qualms, no issues, no nothing. None of that. So I think that for the special team situation, Oregon has a lot of options. I mean, Hurek looked awesome. I think that kick he had in the spring game was good from like 60 yards. Both of his kicks looked like they were good from 60 yards. He has got an insane leg. How is he on the short ones? Don't know. I think that's Sappington's range. But I mean, you could have a little bit of a battle between Boyle and Hurek for being the long range kicker. Sappington's consistent range was around 45 last year, but Sappington only missed a couple of times. Like, he was incredibly solid and reliable. And I'm not one to discount the importance of special teams and good kicking game, nor should any Oregon fan, given what has happened in the past. I don't need to bring up what happened in 2011 or 2012. But I think that for where this kicking game is, I feel really good about it. I think it was easy to forget because he was a transfer from Oregon State last year. Sappington came over as a junior, so had another year of eligibility coming back to Oregon. I thought he was reliable. I trusted him. Yep, he had a couple of misses. Guess what? There is no kicker in college football you can expect that's going to go out and just be perfect all the time. The Texas kicker that I think went to Florida, maybe, in the offseason, Auburn is his last name. I forgot where he wound up. But, that's what I look at and say he's an elite kicker. So I don't think, you said truly lethal place kicking game. I'll go with a 5. I'll go with a 5 because there's not an NFL kicker on Oregon's roster. That's what a lethal kicking game looks like. Can it be above average? I think it was last year, and I think it can be again next year. But, lethal is reliant on having a Roberto Aguayo from Florida State or Tyler Loop from Arizona, who just got drafted by the Ravens and is going to be their starting kicker. Like, that's what you need to have a lethal kicking game where you feel like it's a weapon. For Oregon, though, the kicking game just needs to not be a liability, and they will be all right. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.